Mm-hmm. Right, and what had happened was we were focusing on Maureen's relationships with her sisters, and she was just really unhappy with these relationships. She wanted them to be closer, but yet she really hesitated to reach out to them, particularly the sister Maria, who does live in the area here, just a different area, a different part of Chicago. And so I posed the question, well, what would happen if you proactively reached out and asked Maria to get together? And she gave me a lot of what I call the yeah buts. Well, I could do it, but she's always running her high school son to all these lessons. Well, but she always has all these other things that she has to do first. And so Maureen, I think, was refraining from asking because she was protecting herself. She interpreted Maria's explanations of these different things that she had to do as just not caring about her or putting her last. And so you notice that we were talking about the difference between doing what was right versus effective, and we concluded that it's most effective to ask Maria anyway if that's the end result that she wants. So we practiced some communication in order for her to put her best foot forward, and the experiment was for her to actually reach out to Maria and get together. She was actually going to do something smaller than an Easter gathering. She was just going to try to get together with her sister when she happened to be up in the north side of Chicago, but she took it a step further and actually asked her to get together Easter morning, which I thought was a big success. And so given that Maria responded positively, she even accommodated Maureen by changing the time of the reservation and whatnot, it was really important for me to consolidate that learning at the end. You know, how much did then this experience confirm or disconfirm her initial prediction that Maria was not going to be interested in hem and haw? And it didn't confirm that at all.
You almost got the sense towards the end here that you were going to then take it the next step and reassign something else. Or...
Right, definitely. And I wanted her, again, to consolidate that learning, to see that the likelihood of the worst outcome happening was much lower than she had thought. And, you know, she'd be able to handle it if Maria were to, you know, maybe not be able to do everything that she asked, but was able to, you know, meet at certain times. And so absolutely, had we continued to work together, we would have, I implemented just a pattern of ways for her to continue to re-engage with her family that was so important to her.
You know, in this DVD, we've talked about the behavioral piece. And I'm wondering, is this an example where we can see how they kind of go hand in hand, that, you know, this was about making a behavioral change. Did you have to do some cognitive change with her to get her to go ahead and do that?
You know, Pam, I'm so glad that you you brought this up, because I write about this all the time. I don't believe that one can divorce cognitive strategies from behavioral strategies. And even though the name of this technique is called a behavioral experiment, I almost view it as more of a cognitive strategy, because it's really testing out a prediction that's just a hypothesis that may or may not be true, and prospectively gathering information in order to confirm or disconfirm. You do that by enacting a behavior, in this case by asking her sister if she wanted to do something, but it really just promotes great cognitive change. And it's the same way, kind of going the other way with doing the activity monitoring and scheduling. Lots of new learning occurs, which is a cognitive phenomenon.
Yeah, I was going to say also, in the clip that we saw of me doing the interoceptive exposure, what we didn't see was right after it, but that follows up with discussion about what do you make of the fact that you can do this, you can bring on the sensations and not die. You know, so again, the cognitive interpretation is critical following the behavioral experiment.
Yeah, one thing I often say to clients, and then also when I'm talking with students too, is just that we know these things are all interconnected, the thoughts and the feeling, the emotions, the physical sensations and the behaviors, and then the environment that shapes them. And cognitive behavior therapy has a reputation for focusing on the cognitive change, but sometimes it's easier, it's more efficient to start with the behavior change. Like a person is able to engage with a behavior, a fairly simple, quick behavior that changes their thinking.
Sure.
You know, both of the examples you just gave are examples, they're not simple ones, but, you know, where the person did take action and then in turn that changed their thinking, which in turn changed their feelings.
That's
and
right. And then primes the pump for more change.
Yes.
We oftentimes say, lead with behavior and the mind will follow.
Yeah. Well, this concludes the second program of the Cognitive Behavior Therapy Techniques and Strategies series. This one was on session structure and behavioral strategies. Thank you.